Hi, I'm Dr. Chan. Welcome to my live chat. Today, I'd like to share with you my story. My story about this accidental journey of a doctor turned chef. In 2014, I accidentally started a restaurant and I actually worked as a head chef there for a period of 5 years. For a period of 5 years, I was working the restaurant. My goal was to use the restaurant as a living classroom to teach people, to encourage people to try healthier ingredients, to try healthier foods. So this is my story, and I welcome you to join me in this live chat. And I'm going to use photos of my journey, right, to share with you. Right, I'm going to use my photos of my journey. This is a photo of me serving dinner. This is actually a eat and learn. They eat and they learn. I was running programs such as this. I'm going to share my photo album, and I welcome you to ask me questions, any questions. And if it's suitable, I will be happy to answer them. Okay, so this is one of my favorite photos because every single day I would be cutting vegetables, washing vegetables. I will be creating vegetable strong dishes. And that was my life. That was my life for 5 years. And that I was working full time in the kitchen on top of being a medical doctor, on top of being a medical doctor. And this is like some of the, not the only dishes that I served. I created about 40, 50 different dishes. And I'm going to share some of them with you later. Right. And this was a video shoot from a Japan TV station who came to look at what I was doing because the story to them was very interesting, was very unique. Right. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Dr. Chan. I'm a medical doctor from Singapore, and I was I was formerly a chef because my restaurant closed in 2019. But right now, I focus on seeing patients. I also focus on training them, coaching them to unlock the power of the lifestyle and the eating habits. I do so many things. In my clinic, just an ordinary clinic, the only difference is my focus is in prescribing lifestyle changes, prescribing dietary changes, prescribing um, prescribing changes in their choices of food, changes in the choices of their lifestyle in order to better control their blood sugar, better control their blood pressure, better control their blood cholesterol, so as to prevent, control, and combat the chronic diseases and their complications, such as the complications of diabetes from stroke, heart attack, kidney failure. So that's what I do. And my focus is in coaching patients to change their lifestyle, to be less dependent, to be not only dependent on medication, that I prescribe and coach them through a journey of changing their diet. And I teach everywhere. And this was where I was teaching in my restaurant, in between of my dinner service and lunch services. I would be running classes, running workshops, and training people. I train people online. I run master classes. So I even train people in the hawker center. I even run training sessions for patients and some of my students in the kitchen, in a training kitchen, to teach them how to not just know what to choose, but how to make their choices come alive in the kitchen. So that's my wife, my beautiful wife, helping me in the kitchen there. I'm also an advocate, whether it's on TV, whether it's on conferences, right, even on my YouTube. And many of you follow me from YouTube. My main channel, by God's grace, has now about 90 over 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for that. This is my TikTok, and then of course some of you are watching this from um, Facebook. Okay, that's my journey. This is my wife for 5 long years. we slogged. We did everything that was necessary, right, in order to encourage people, in order to get them to be interested in, get them to explore and to enjoy healthier foods and healthier ingredients. So if you have any questions about my journey, you have any questions, about what I do, I'm happy to answer your questions. Okay, but in the meantime, right, I would like to play you a short clip, right, of a video, right, from recorded by a local online newspapers in Singapore, about my passion, about my work as a chef, as a doctor. So give me a while to share the screen with you, right? Give me a while to share the screen with you, right? Yes. Okay. So this is this video. Maybe let's watch a slightly longer clip of that together. Okay. Okay. Eating better for the health can be enjoyable too. There is this misconception out there, and this perception that eating better is not enjoyable. So I have this lady, this customer who brought a husband here. I think you all might not be able to hear the audio. If you cannot hear the audio, do let me know in the comment section. And ran out. Without even looking at the menu, right, without trying the food. So I had a big laugh over it. But that's what we are up against in the community in general. People tend to associate eating better, eating healthy as a constraint, as something that's deprivation. One of the things that I try to do is to entice people by creating old favorites like fried rice, like nasi lemak. But using new and better ingredients. I try to use whole grain and using things like quinoa. So instead of like nasi lemak, it became a quinoa lemak. Because of the healthy food reputation that my restaurant had, and because many people knew that I, the chef in the kitchen, cooking their food, was also a medical doctor, passionate about promoting healthy eating, people with this misconception would not even step into my restaurant in the... Yeah. So that was, a short clip, right, from the video that was taken by online newspapers in Singapore. Right. Let me just continue. Let me continue sharing with you my journey. You are new here. I'm Dr. Chan. I welcome you to my live stream. I welcome you to my live stream, and I am happy to share with you my story. My story as a chef, my story as a doctor turned chef. Right. If you're new here, do drop in your questions, say hi, leave something in the comment section. Yeah. Good morning, good evening to all of you. Okay. So let me continue. Just share with you some pictures, some stories. And this was a eat and learn session. And this was where I was running programs. I was running workshops as a dinner workshop, as a dinner program, and people didn't just get a meal, they get a chance to learn. So here I was demonstrating to them, how to reduce the intake, of highly processed food, whether it is, the breads, the noodles, the pasta, I was, serving them a dinner. I think it was a 6-course dinner, and on top of that, there was all a show and tell. So this was one of the show and tell, right, that I did. There was one of the show and tell that I did, right? Hi, Jesse. Good to have you here. I'm not sure what time it is now in New Zealand, right? Grace, right now, no, I do not have a course on healthy food. I don't run an online course on healthy eating for now, but I intend to do some online courses or webinars, on how we can eat rice better. Okay, how people can eat rice without, the unnecessary, unhealthy sugar spikes, right, from an excessive intake of rice. And hi, Jane from the Philippines. Hi, Christy. Good morning to all. Good afternoon to all of you. And Jesse, it is 9:30 in New Zealand now. Now, if those of you are watching, you have any questions about my journey, about my story, I welcome you to ask me. I'll be happy. I'm just sharing randomly from my photo album of the things that I did. So in between running the restaurant, I was also actually, running courses. So this was one of them at my restaurant. I was conducting training programs when in between lunch and dinner, the lull period. So I was teaching people how to choose low GI food. I was teaching people how to choose better staples. I was teaching people how to be plant stronger. So I was running three programs actually, right? Better staples, how to be low GI, as well as how to be plant stronger. So this is a photo from one of them. Forgive me if the photos are very random, if the photos are not in any particular order, and some of them might even repeat. When I decided at the last minute to share, my journey, my story, I was just collating some of my photos and happy to share with you. So that's me, working in a restaurant. This is like my working shirt, but putting on an apron and serving, all the different foods here. Right, some of them a lot of them are quinoa based. A lot of them are healthy staples based. Right, so if you have any questions to ask, happy to take the questions from you. And I'm one of the things I've tried to do was to get people, right? Excuse me, to get people to reduce, right, the excessive intake of processed carbohydrate product. We Asians, we are taking too much noodles, bread, pasta, bihun, kway teow. It's like breakfast, lunch, dinner. We are always taking a lot of processed carbohydrate. Right. So during one of the workshops that I conduct, at my restaurant, I would even demonstrate to them how to spiralize vegetables, whether it's zucchini to make zoodles, whether it is using daikon, I call them doodles, right? Or whether it is about using broccoli stem. So I did quite a lot of that. So here you see a lot of zucchini. This is for a day. I start my day spiralizing a lot of zucchini. Right, this is a spiralizer, right? And I spiralize the zucchini, and I'll be serving a pasta dish, right, in my restaurant, right, using spiralized zucchini. Right. The goal was to encourage people. The goal was to teach people that no doubt we do not need to fear eating anything. We have no fear, but we should learn to have options, right, that are better. We should learn to have options that will allow us, right, to minimize our excessive intake of processed food, processed carbohydrate. Right. We Asians take so much processed flour-based product, and not just in bakery, confectionery, noodles, breads. So one of my mission then was really to spiralize, and spiralize, cook them into different dishes and let people try and enjoy, and so that's one of the things I do. Very fond memories of the times I had there. I operated for 5 years, 5 long years, and now to think of it, I'm so nostalgic. All these people, I still know them. They are friends now. They are precious friends who started as regular customers and now became, and then after a while, really people who appreciate the mission that I was on, doing that. So you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Sally good morning to you, Sally. It must be so early, where you are right now. And what would be a great breakfast? We will answer that when at time appropriate later. Is that all right? Minako, 傍晚好，你好. Right. And let me just continue. So, yep, this is another photo. This was my restaurant. Pretty, isn't it? I missed it. I put so much love, so much heart right? Not just in the exterior, the decoration of the restaurant, but more importantly, the purpose of the restaurant, the mission of the restaurant, which is to create foods, to encourage people, create foods, to get them to explore and learn to appreciate healthier foods, healthier options. Christy asked me whether I have any plan to go back to open a restaurant. Definitely not. My wife have told me before, 5 years is enough. 5 years, 5 of our prime years that we spent slogging in the kitchen, slogging, working so hard in the restaurant. It's very hard work. Any of you run a restaurant, any of you in the F&B business, would you agree with me? It's tough life. It's absolutely tough life. It's a tough business, but it's a very tough life. So right now my focus is really not in running a restaurant anymore. Right? Although I miss it, although I reminisce over it, the good old days, the platform that I have, but probably not. It's time for me to move on, right? To do something else, to move on, right? To be reach not just people in Singapore, but people from around the world, people from around the world. So this is a typical lunchtime when people are eating. I'll be out there interacting with them. I'll be sharing with them, some of the important things that they need to know, challenging them, right, with some of the um, ideas, right, some of the misconception about food, about healthy food. And so this is a picture, right, that I got. Now, sorry about the quality of pictures. We are running a restaurant. We are not running a um, a social media marketing campaign. So many of my photos were just taken from our phone and shared with each other through WhatsApp. So you can see, the quality of some of the photos are not very good. But I just want to share with you my journey. I want to share with you, right? And this is a photo from a program done by a radio station in Singapore, who went to my restaurant and did a 13-part series, right, about food and health, about how to choose food to get people to change their diet, how to choose food to get people, to try eating new ingredients, healthier ingredients. So this was one of the episodes taken at the restaurant. This is a photo of that, right? This is demonstrating to people who came for the dinner. No, I call it eat and learn. They eat and they learn as well. Right. So that was what I did. Right. They eat and they learn. Right. I hope you are hearing me all right. Right. Oh, you are hearing me all right. So that yeah. Okay. Yeah. So welcome to all of you. Nice of you to say hi. And we have Phyllis saying hi from Sarawak. Jesse, it's 9:30 p.m. in New Zealand. What was your dinner? Jesse, what dinner did you have? Good evening to you. You must have not just a nice, I hope you have a very, very healthy dinner. So what do you think I was doing here? Anybody want to guess? What was I doing? What is this white thing, these strands that I have in this picture? Right? Anybody can guess what are these white strands, right, that is shown in this picture here? Right in the comment section, what do you think these white strands are? That are spiralized. What did I just spiralize? Why did these ladies come around and became so interested in learning how to spiralize this? Okay, what do you think they are? Right, leave it in the comment section. Right, I'll be happy to answer them and let this be interactive. Right, again, another spiralizing session now. This time using a hand spiralizer, a smaller one. All right, a smaller version. Right, and just now when I was asking what was I spiralizing, all right, Angie says that this one is cauliflower. It's not cauliflower. Now Phyllis say this is broccoli. It is not broccoli. Anybody got any other guesses? Right, what am I spiralizing here? Jesse says I'm spiralizing parsnips. Parsnip? Am I spiralizing parsnip? Right, Jacqueline says radish. Right, or turnip. Both Jacqueline and Christy, you're right. No, it's form of radish is the daikon, the Japanese daikon, you know, the white daikon. Right, this is like one of the staple in my restaurant. Later, I'll show you some photos, right, of what I use the daikon for. I spiralize the daikon and use it in place of noodles. Right, use it in place of noodles. Okay, right. NG says so small, can't see. So sorry about the quality of the photos. Right, but I wanted you to guess and have fun guessing it. This is spiralizing. Right, this is one of my dishes, right, that I was serving, right, in my restaurant. Right, this is actually a tom yum minestrone, right, a tom yum minestrone that I was serving. One of my goals was really to get people to learn to incorporate more and more variety, higher quality, wholesome, phytonutrient rich, you know, whole food, whole vegetables into the diet. But I wanted to use the taste, flavors that they're familiar with, cuisines they're familiar with. So I was actually like a fusion healthy chef. You know, I created this minestrone-like soup dish, lots of vegetables, but to cater to the Singaporean local palate, I made a tom yum version of it. So this was one of my very popular dish in my restaurant. Very, very popular. Right, it is the tom yum minestrone. Okay, tom yum minestrone. And yeah, Esther says that it looks very yummy. Later I'll show you some photos, Esther. I'll show you some photos of the finished product. Angie says some people use cucumbers as noodles. Cucumbers are a little bit difficult, Angie, right? Because cucumber is too much fluid in the middle. There's not dry enough. So when you spiralize, they get all mushy. You know, instead of having it noodles like, you become like, you know, mashed, very soft vegetables. So cucumber is not a good choice, right? Later I'll share with you some of the different vegetables that I use to spiralize. Okay, some of the many different vegetables, right, that I use to spiralize. Okay, let me then continue, right, with my show and tell with my photo album. Here it is, right, from left to right. Would you want to guess from left to right what are the three different spiralized vegetables here? These are staples in my restaurant. Right? These are very popular dishes in my restaurant. Very, very popular. Right? Three different ones. Okay, what do you think they are? Okay, from the left to right or right to left, you know, that you see. The one in the center, many of you have guessed just now, was daikon, white radish. Spiralized white radish. Not white radish, daikon, Japanese daikon. All right. And what are the other two of them? One of them is zucchini. And one of them is zucchini. So the green, very bright green one is zucchini. The duller green, you know, spiralized vegetable. Anybody want to guess what is this duller green one? One of them is spiralized daikon, and this is not cooked yet. I was just putting it in my bento box and showing to people as a demonstration. Right? And I, of course, created many different dishes out of them. Many different dishes out of them. And Jacqueline said that it is zucchini, radish, and cabbage. No, it is not cabbage. The last one here, right, it's not cabbage. There is a zucchini, spiralized zucchini there, zucchini noodles, or call them zoodles. I have daikon noodles, I call them doodles. So zucchini noodles become zoodles, daikon noodles become doodles. Right? So what is the third green spiralized vegetable? Anybody want to guess? Right? Able to guess. I wouldn't give the answer so quickly. I'll move on and I'll come back to this later. Right? What do you think is this dish? This is one of my most popular top seller favorite dish in my restaurant. Top seller. People were amazed by it. Okay. Anybody want to guess? Okay, here, these three different one. One is zucchini, one is spiralized daikon, Japanese daikon, right? And Shafe here says spinach, right? Christy Ng says that it is hairy god. No, it is not hairy god. Right here, this one here. What do you think is this one here? Okay, this one is spiralized zucchini. Very popular, but also more relatively common. Right? Spiralized zucchini, that people call it zoodles. Right? People call it zoodles. This one, right? Wait, yeah. This one here, right, is daikon. Right. I think Angie, have you been to my restaurant before? You seem to know the food that I serve. Right. This is daikon. So zucchini spiralized becomes zoodles. So daikon spiralized, I call it doodles. Right. I call it doodles. And this third one, right, is like what Jesse has guessed. It's actually broccoli stems. So remember, I was serving a lot of broccoli a day. I was selling so many kilograms of broccoli every single day, and I have lots of stems. Right? It's not just about not wanting to waste it, but it's also to educate people to explore different ways to use vegetables and using broccoli stems to make into noodles. I spiralized broccoli stems. So the zucchini became zoodles, the daikon become doodles, and the broccoli stems, I call them broodles. I call them broodles. And this one, right here, right, one of my best-selling dish, right, in my restaurant. What do you think it is? And many of you are guessing it, right? Many of you are guessing that, right? Wait a while for more entries of people guessing what that last thing is. But Jesse guessed and got it right, right? Jesse got it right, right? That it is broccoli stem. That this is broccoli stems spiralized into noodles, like to make it. I use broccoli stems for the typical pasta sauce, tomato-based pasta sauce, and it's yummy. And the trick is to, for all three of them, they have different cooking times, and different people like different texture. The main thing is not to have this as vegetable. The texture must remain to be noodles, like there must be a bite to it, right? So each of them, the cooking time is very different, very different. And zucchini has the shortest cooking time, okay? And the broccoli stem has the longest cooking time. The daikon somewhere in between, and everybody's preference is different, right? So you would cook it differently. And this one is actually laksa, a local Singapore favorite, laksa, right? A very savory, spicy dish, like one of the very popular favorite dish in Singapore called laksa. Right, typically served with noodles, served with rice, vermicelli, bihun, chor bihun, they call it. Right, and like Angie said, I actually served it as doodle laksa, and that means I use spiralized daikon in place of bihun, in place of rice vermicelli, right, and made a laksa. And the meat there you can see, right, is actually sous vide chicken breast. Sous vide chicken breast, right, in laksa sauce with spiralized daikon, right, spiralized daikon, right. On different dishes, most of the time I don't, right. Most of the time I will try alternatives, right. But sometimes there are many. I won't go into details of the ingredients that I use, right. There's so many different ones of them, right. Certainly I will use healthier options, right, but also balancing what people might take to or what people might reject. And the key here was to introduce an alternative to pasta, alternative to bihun, alternative to noodles, right? So that people, right, would minimize their intake or reduce excessive intake, right, of different kind of noodles and bread or pasta. No, because we all agree that all of us, right? How many of you agree, Kichu, that we Asian, we Singaporeans in particular, are taking too much noodles, bihun, kway teow, pasta, flour-based noodles and products? How many of you agree? Raise your hands and put in the comment section. How many of you agree that most of us, especially people in Singapore, people in Asia, have an excessive amount of noodles, pasta, and bihun, kway teow, no, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We are eating so much of that. So that was one of my motivation, encouraging people to try alternatives, trying alternative, right, to net, right? Right, and Angie say yes, she agrees, right? With either bihun noodles or kway teow, right? And Shafe here agrees as well. You know, we are having too much noodles, absolutely too much noodles. Jane say your favorite is bihun, right? And Jesse agreed totally. Jesse was originally from Sabah, Malaysia, and we Asians, Singaporeans, Malaysians, we are taking too much noodles, bread, bihun, kway teow, all flour-based product. And Jacqueline agrees too, right? Jacqueline agrees too, right? Shafe agrees as well that we are taking too much noodles, bihun, pasta. So that was what I did. This was one of my passion, right? Getting people, right, to learn how to spiralize vegetable, teaching them and creating dishes, right? Later, I'll share with you what this is. This is actually bak chor mee, mai mee. There's no bak chor mee in there, There's no noodles in this bak chor mee, right? Another of the favorite in my restaurant, okay? And that was what the mission that I was on, getting people to reduce their excessive intake of flour-based product by demonstrating to them, by cooking for them, by serving them, and even teaching them, enabling them, to explore and learn how to cook, how to enjoy alternatives to noodles and pasta in their favorite dishes, right? So in this picture here, this is spiralized zucchini, called it zoodles, which is very common and popular, and this is daikon, we call it doodles, and this one is spiralized broccoli, broccoli stem, I call it broodles. Yeah. And this is my favorite laksa, very popular laksa with daikon, right? Yeah, this is just a small fraction of the amount of vegetables I was serving in my restaurant in a typical day, right? In a typical day, I'll be serving way much more than this, okay? And this one, anybody want to guess what this is, right? What is this? I was trying to teach people to make different options, right? To choose different options, to try different options, to be adventurous, right? To be open to trying different kind of staples, right? And we Asians love, right? We Asians love not just the noodles and kway teow, but we actually also love a lot of rice-based product. Okay, what do you think this is? Right? Anybody want to guess? What is this? What is this? This is similar. This is another dish. Right? This is another photo. I'll show some of the other photos. What do you think this is? Right? Angie guessed that it is cauliflower rice. Right? Shafe guessed that it is cauliflower. Angie also guessed it's cauliflower chicken rice. And Jacqueline guessed that it is cauliflower rice. Everybody guesses cauliflower rice, and everybody is wrong. Right? Everybody is wrong. And even Phyllis Wong guessed it is cauliflower rice. It is not cauliflower rice. Jane Banas also guessed that it is cauliflower rice. Right? So any of you can see the condiments that served. There's cucumber here. There's some kind of sambal. There's some chicken, and there's some nuts. Right? Then the nuts here are walnut, almond, and I can't remember, sunflower seeds. There are some nuts. So what local Singapore dish has chicken, cucumber, some nuts of some kind, and sambal chili? Right? How many of you, right, can you all guess what kind of dish in Singapore, in Malaysia, has this combination of some kind of chicken, some cucumber, a staple there, some kind of nuts, and sambal chili, right? So I was asking you all to guess what this is, and Angie guessed that it's cauliflower rice, Shafe think cauliflower, Angie is cauliflower chicken rice, Jacqueline is called cauliflower rice, Phyllis guessed that it is cauliflower rice, Jane also guessed it's cauliflower rice, and everybody guessing wrongly, right? And so I give you a clue, all right, that what is a common dish in Singapore and Malaysia? that typically is served together with some kind of chicken or some kind of cucumber is always a must. Sambal chili is a must, and some kind of nuts. What do you think that is? Right, and Shafe here say chicken panyak. No, don't think they have cucumber, right? Chicken panyak, and don't typically serve with nuts. All right, I give you 1 minute to guess. All right, what am I trying to encourage people here? And what is this dish? What's the inspiration behind this dish? All right, some of you say that it is some kind of chicken rice, and I already said it is not cauliflower, and the inspiration is not chicken rice, right? And I have some other response here, right? And I have a Shafe here that is chicken lemak, the chicken panyak, all right? So what do you think this is? Okay, so I have a few correct answers here, and the people who have guessed correctly are the winners of this quiz are Angie, Phyllis, Adeline, Jessie, Jacqueline, Christy, and even Aburama, right? This is actually quinoa lemak, right? Another of my very popular dish, quinoa lemak. Instead of nasi lemak, it became quinoa lemak. Instead of fried chicken, I served them sous vide chicken breast. Instead of the deep fried peanuts, I was serving them walnut, almond, sunflower seeds, right? And they still have their cucumber, and they still have their sambal, right? Cucumber and sambal. Okay, so that was what this is, and Christy guessed it correctly. It is a quinoa chicken lemak. It is a quinoa lemak, because nasi lemak, you agree, right? Many of you who guessed nasi lemak, right? You will agree that the typical Singapore, Malaysia nasi lemak, they'll have fried chicken wing, almost like a must, and you have cucumber, it's almost as a must. And Jessie, formerly from Sabah, now in New Zealand, you also remember that many of the nasi lemak were cucumber or fried chicken wing of some kind, and peanuts. These are like staple. And then of course, not forgetting the sambal chili, So here, right, the inspiration here is from nasi lemak. The motivation here is to encourage people to go beyond just rice, but to explore other staples. So I was serving them quinoa, right? So got the inspiration from nasi lemak and was serving them quinoa lemak, right? One of the very, very popular dish in my restaurant then. Anybody want to guess what this is? Right? Anybody want to guess what this is? Okay, this one? Anybody want to guess? Right, another of the best seller, a few best seller, and people, the companies, they often order this, for their staff, for their events, right? Because it's so special, right? It's so special, right? Edwina, have a good, Dr. Turn chef, but no longer. Right now I'm chefing online. I no longer chef in the kitchen. I may be guest chefing, in some restaurant. I'm planning to have a pop-up somewhere. I'm planning to, as a start, go and work in a Lei Cha store, right? And live stream from there. Of course, I no longer have a restaurant. I no longer have a playground in the kitchen to create foods like this. I no longer have that, right? And have a good walk. Edwina, you're going to walk your walk at the stadium. All right. Anybody want to guess? The next quiz question here is, what do you think this is? Okay, previously, I said, get you guess to reduce people's dependence on rice. So I used the inspiration from nasi lemak. I created a quinoa lemak with sous vide chicken with healthier nuts like walnut, almond, sunflower seeds, and cucumber and all. Right. And my other dish here is, what do you think this is? Right. This is another dish. All right. Jacqueline said that it's tandoori rice. No, it's not tandoori. Angie says that it is biryani. All right, it's biryani. And Phyllis, do you guess cauliflower rice just now? And you're guessing again another cauliflower fried rice, right? So many of you think that I serve cauliflower rice, right? Cauliflower rice, but and another, I serve cauliflower rice in a very different way. I don't think I have a picture of that. But my cauliflower rice was one of the very common staples that people choose, right, in my restaurant. Later, I'll share with you, right, the bento sets from the restaurant, right, what they look like. I think it is maybe 10, 20 photos after this. I just randomly put together, from my collection of photos of my restaurant days, right, and let's share with you, have a chit chat with you. All right, chit chat with you. And Jesse say you must try making quinoa lemak one day. You do make nasi lemak sometimes. All right. And so you are now trying to, good, Jesse, right, try it and show it to me, and tell me how it goes. Introduce quinoa to people so that quinoa do not just become some exotic, atas, exotic, expensive, healthy food that only the Western culture enjoy. We Asian culture, Oriental culture, Southeast Asian culture tend not to know what to do with quinoa. So I was making quinoa lemak from it. And what do you think this is? Anybody want to guess? Edwina says that it is beef rice. Beef rice. And Jesse will, after trying the quinoa lemak, Jesse will try to create the quinoa lemak, right? And after trying the quinoa lemak, Jesse will let me know how it goes and even show me photos. Okay, Jesse? Right. And Edwina shares that this might be beef rice. Can you be more specific, on what that is? Right, beef rice. Engine says millet biryani. Millet biryani. Right. There are a lot of different staples. When I ran a workshop called Better Staples, they're going beyond rice. Right? Of course, I demonstrated to them quinoa, cauliflower rice, millet, even lentils, and all the different kind of grains, better staples options out there. All right. But this was not one of them. Okay, Shafi says that this is buckwheat rice. No, this is not buckwheat rice. All right. I'll wait for some of your responses, right, before I answer this and I go further. Right. Although I no longer have a restaurant, when the pandemic hit, I had no choice, but I had to begin to advocate, look for ways to continue to challenge people, to inspire people to eat differently. So my home kitchen, right, became the playground. And that's how I started my YouTube channel. That's how I began to make more Facebook videos and all, and more live streams such as this, right? Because I wanted to, right, continue to, even after I closed my restaurant in 2019, right, to be able to continue, right, to engage people, inspire them, right, to try different foods, try healthier ingredients. And that was what I did. So the Chris question here is, what is this? What is this? Anybody guess? What are the ingredients here? And what is this dish? What is the inspiration here? All right. Angie says that you cook quinoa like rice and eat it with other dishes that you eat with rice. Absolutely. All right. We Asians sometimes think that the only way to eat rice dishes is with rice. Quinoa can be one of them. Cauliflower rice can be one of them. We only need to explore and experience that. Okay. Explore and experience that. Okay. It was hard work. It was very hard work. This is a photo of my wife and I. That is about 5 years ago already. Much younger than now. So 老了, I'm much older now. All right. So some of you guess, Edwina guess it's brown red rice with quinoa with minced beef. All right. Well, Alice Tan Mylin actually guess it's konjac fried rice. Konjac fried rice. Nope. Not, all of you are wrong. All right. Edwina, who says that it is brown red rice with quinoa with minced beef. Nope. All right. And Alice says konjac fried rice. Nope. All right. And Shafe, who say that this is buckwheat rice. Nope. All right. And Angie, who said this millet biryani. Nope. Again. All right. Yeah. So anybody else, I want to have a venture, a better guess to that. Okay. I'll go back to it with the correct answer when someone gives me that. What's the inspiration behind that dish? What's the inspiration behind this? What's the inspiration? Always think of the inspiration to tickle people's palates. What did I do here? All right. Photos, again, reminiscing over the past photos. My wife and I, working the night shift, working the day shift. This is lunchtime. This is dinner time. In between, in the morning, we'll be running the clinic. Lunch, afternoon, I'll be running the clinic as well. All right. and lunchtime and dinner time I'll be at my restaurant, right? Yeah, you can see you're a bit younger then, right? It was hard work, right? Very, very hard work, right? That we were putting into this place. Okay. I think the closest is Christy, who said fried egg quinoa. It's not fried egg quinoa, right? The inspiration here is fried rice. So instead of fried rice, this one is quinoa fried rice. There's no rice used. It's just totally quinoa. Again, one of the very, 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 very popular signature dishes at my restaurant. And if they want, sometimes it's served with sous vide chicken. For those who insist, in this instance, for example, this is served with bulgogi beef. So a Korean-inspired dish, bulgogi beef, right? And the typical Asian, Southeast Asian, Chinese or Malay, Southeast Asian or Asia dish, which is fried rice. So here I made quinoa fried rice, served with bulgogi beef. And the motivation is to get people to explore different ways of enjoying quinoa so that they are not so dependent on just rice alone. Nothing wrong with rice, but it's better to try different things, right? So you see, this is one of dinner services, right? And then this is one of the eat and learn. They eat while they're eating the different courses of food, right? I would be sharing and doing demonstration, right? Sharing and doing demonstration. And this is, I think, one of the Chinese newspapers articles, right? Chinese newspapers articles about me. 医生拿着锅铲卖健康的便当. I think so. That's what it says. And my Chinese not so good, right? So this headline just say a doctor taking up the ladder, to promote healthy bentos. Right? This is a Chinese newspaper's article on me during the time that I was a chef. Belinda, thank you for your encouraging words. Yeah, it's not inspiring; it's very perspiring, right? Belinda, just a small joke. People always ask, Dr. Chan, you give me a lot of inspiration. Then I always tell them that actually for me and my wife, it's a lot of perspiration. Lots of perspiration. It's a lot of hard work. And I even have cook and eat and learn. Right? Eat and learn for different people. So this one here is actually spiralized broccoli. Right? This one is brown rice. This one is spiralized zucchini. Tricolor quinoa. This is white quinoa. This is red rice. This one is, I think, the quinoa fried. No, this one is my cauliflower rice with quinoa. And this one is a tricolor quinoa. And this one, right, is the spiralized noodles. Spiralized noodles. Right. Angie said, if I start all over, maybe can get people here to volunteer to do the hard work. Running a restaurant need that consistency, need that predictability, need that assurance of quality control. You certainly cannot run a restaurant fully, properly with just a volunteer workforce, however well-intentioned they may be. So when I was telling people I'm going to close the restaurant, many people say, no, doctor, is there anything I can do, right, that we can continue the restaurant? Because after 5 years, the regulars were like so sad to see it close. So sad to see it close, right? So this is another eat and learn, right? In here, this dish here, right? This was, I think, Thai green curry with quinoa, right? Tricolor quinoa and quinoa fried rice, right? This is a very interesting picture. This was taken at the beginning of running my restaurant, maybe in 2015, right? At a regular lunch crowd, right? And you can see the three of them, they were actually not so interested in listening to me. They're more interested in the food, right? But me being thick-skinned, I would run over in between cooking in the kitchen. I would run out and share with them, the key principles, the key practices that I want to encourage them, right? In terms of the diet, in terms of the lifestyle, right? So as to better prevent, better combat. So people come to eat, they get, whether they ask for it or not, they get me. I hope it's not nagging. They will get me speaking to them, coming out of the kitchen, trying to engage them in conversation, in discussion about the food choices and health. Food choices and health. So this picture gives me so, it it reminds me of the time, right, where I was really going all out, right, to get people to change their minds. And here, people having their lunch, right? And here, I mean, this is not a nice picture. May I go on? My wife and I at the beginning of a journey. I think this photo was taken by Leslie Tay from I Eat, I Shoot, I Post. He came, have lunch, right? And took a photo of me and then posted it on his very popular Facebook page. Right. Yeah. So this was a picture taken by Leslie Tay, I think. Right. And Angie said nowadays they go and eat, they don't have time to cook, but now they can't find this food anymore. Right. Yeah. I mean, supply and demand. If there's no demand, at the beginning of my journey, that's my son. And many years ago, this was maybe about 6 years ago or more, more than 6 years ago. Right. About 7, 8 years ago. Right. That's my son. Right. Working hard. Right, I'm still looking much younger than now. Right, my wife working so hard there. All right. Yeah, many of them can see my wife, and my wife at the counter. Me working behind this wall is the kitchen, and I'll be out there in the dining area, engaging people, talking to young kids, asking them about their diet, trying to entice them to try different things. Engaging in conversation with customers who are willing to have a conversation with me about healthy eating. And my wife would be busy serving them, manning the cashier, answering their questions. Right. Yeah, that was what we did. Thank you, Jesse. I'll tell my wife that you say that about us, that we're a great couple. I hope to think so. And my wife is, yeah, I can't say anything more because she was such a great support for me during that time. All right. Great support for me. This is another quinoa dish. Okay, but what do you think is the source here? What do you think is the inspiration? Anybody want to guess? Right, what is the inspiration behind this quinoa dish? Right, what did I try to do here? What kind of palette, right, am I trying to challenge people? Right, some of the quinoa sets they can have, a vegetable sides, and the side is not quite a side. My vegetable dishes are always not small, right? Here with mushroom, with broccoli, with cauliflower, and bulgogi beef with tofu and quinoa fried rice, right? So one of the sets that's being served. So in the morning, my wife and I, right, will be running our clinic. Here are photos of my wife and I in the clinic, right? So after seeing our patients, most of our patients who come and see us are people with diabetes, people with high blood pressure, with high cholesterol. So they see us, right? See me, my wife will help me to coach them, right? To get them to change the diet, right? I'll prescribe the diet change. My wife will encourage and support them, right? It's two of us work very closely together. So in the clinic, that's what we do, right? We will get the diabetic patient to look at different ways of eating. Right? We will even give them a list of restaurants to go and try different foods. Some of them will actually end up at our restaurant, not that we market it to them because they know I run a restaurant and say, why not? So after seeing me in the morning in the clinic, they'll end up in my restaurant. I'll be cooking for them. This is us, another photo on another day at our clinic. And so morning in the clinic, and then afternoon and night, that will be a restaurant. Like Superman changing clothes, right? Superman, I'll go to a telephone booth, right? We'll be one moment wearing business shirts, seeing patient, next moment putting on a black tee just to work in the kitchen. My wife and I doing that. Yeah, it's tiring. This is a photo that shows how tiring it can be, and in between that, this is another workshop that I did, right? Hands-on workshop. I think this is a better staples, or I think it must be a low GI workshop, right? This is a workshop that I ran to teach people, right, to explore low GI options, low GI options, and how to achieve lower GI options, and giving them ideas, and they actually get to try, they get to practice, and they get to eat it. Right? That was something that I did, but I no longer have the platform to do that. So people try, give them ideas, and they get taste, and they go home and practice. I'll do that, do things like that, during the loud hours on weekdays or weekends. On Saturday afternoon, we'll rest on Sunday. On Saturday afternoon, we'll be running workshops like this. So this is a low glycemic index, food low glycemic index, cooking tips workshop. Okay, that's a workshop that I ran. This is another of the low GI workshop. Anybody, right? If I don't know, and the last time I ran a low GI workshop was, I think, a good 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Right? Anybody interested in a low GI workshop, put it in the comment section. I'll put it in the list of things to do, akan datang, that I need to challenge myself to do. If any of you interested in a low glycemic index workshop, right, of any kind, whether online, right, write in the comment section. Right, I will consider doing something, right, if there are interest in doing that. Right, if not, I have a long list or to-do list of things to do. Right, Jesse asked me, you were curious, right, what kind of desserts, right, was I serving my customers? There were no desserts, right? People were having things like berries. When they say a dessert, it's a berry drink, right? So I have an antioxidant drink that's made of different kind of flower tea, and I have a berry drink that is very popular. I have a soy milk thing with chia seeds inside, right? But I was not serving desserts, right? Then we don't have the capacity or space to do that, and that was not something, right? So those of you who are interested in a low GI workshop, all right, do write in the comment section, right? Or better still, right, go to the link, I think somewhere in whether Facebook or YouTube, and just get connected to my online courses mailing list, right? If I'm doing anything in the coming months, in this 1 year, happy to let you all know to do that. Okay, so this is Cook and Learn, right? Different people come and visit and appreciate it. People not just visiting, but also giving me ideas and tips on how to do better, or how to do better. Right? Another of my talking to people while they're having lunch and advocating to them, teaching them. So I have a board here. You can see this board here, right? Some of the key things, I don't think you can read, right? Some of the things that I was advocating and teaching people is all on the board. And when there's time, I'll take out the board and teach anybody who's having lunch, having dinner. And if I'm free in between cooking, serving a dish, I will come out and talk to people. This is a few photos of the cuts and burns, right? So it's not just tiring, right? But I literally have a lot of battle scars. Literally has so many battle scars, right? This was, I think, a burn, right? Another burn, and lots of cuts, right? So it was not only all fun and games or good, right? But it was tough. It was tough, right? Hard work. Maybe I was, this was not just when I knew. Maybe I was tired. But working in the kitchen is not easy. I think having cuts and burns, sometimes even with the most experienced person, for whatever reason, is quite common. So this was my burns, and these were some of my cuts. Now the battle scars, I call it, right? The battle scars that I had from my restaurant. Right? These are some of the dinner services. I did an omakase degustation dinner, right? Omakase, a 9-course around the world, in 9 small plates. That was what I was doing for dinner, right? And this was how my bentos look like. During lunchtime, people get to choose 3 or 4 items, from my menu of about 39, 40 options, right? Out of the 39, 40, about 20 something, 30 of them are all strong plant vegetable dishes, right? So people get to choose, right? They get a sheet of paper, they order, right? And they will choose, right, what they want, and in the kitchen we will then make that bento for them that they customize, right? So that was what I do, And that was what I did, right? In these bentos, right, we actually allow people to say, oh, I want quinoa, or I want cauliflower rice, I wanted zucchini, I noodles, I want broccoli. So people choose. I get people to choose. So some people say, doctor, this is like expensive cai peng, expensive, more atas economy rice, whatever you call it. But it is a make your own bento, right? So I got people to make their own bento. They can choose a staple, or they choose not to have a staple, right? They can choose to have quinoa, they can choose to have zoodles, they can choose to have cauliflower rice, they can choose to have brown rice, they can choose to have red rice, they can choose to have white quinoa, tricolor quinoa, black quinoa, red quinoa. So I have so many quinoa options that they can have quinoa lemak, they can have quinoa fried rice, and they can have quinoa a salad, right? They can sous vide chicken, they can have sous vide salmon, right? There are 30 over options. So people pick and choose, right, from the menu, pick and choose from the menu. And this is another picture of how some of the food look like. Okay, this is how a picture. What do you think, right, of the pictures of the food? You know, of the picture taken at my restaurant, right? Yeah. Okay. So, yep, here it is. Okay, so some of the food. This here, right, was actually a Nonya salad that I made, a chilled salad, right? And I used black fungus and a Nonya inspired dish, right? And then this one is a kimchi tofu, right? Kimchi tofu, right? And then this one was tom yum minestrone. This red rice, sous vide chicken, sous vide salmon, quinoa salad. This one is pico de gallo, you know, and this one is can't remember what dish we were serving. So the menu keep adding and changing, and there's a number of them, right? And then this was one of my quinoa salad. People can choose to have quinoa in place of have a normal salad, quinoa salad, right? Instead of the typical salad, they have a quinoa salad, a pico de gallo. All right, this is the sous vide salmon again. Yeah, a very popular dish, a very popular option, and people actually call in advance. Say, doctor, is the sous vide salmon available today? Right? If it's not available, they don't want to come. If it's available, they'll come. Right? Because I use actually sashimi grade salmon and sous vide them, and it's like so tender, you know. And people were like, wow. So people actually call in advance to make sure we have still some, because I don't have a lot of portions a day. We get the whole salmon, we fill it, you know, in the restaurant ourselves, and we will sous vide and we'll prepare that. All right, we prepare that, right, and that's what we serve, right. I love this picture, pretty, isn't it? Many of you agree with me that it is pretty. Angie, you say that nice display of colors, looks delicious, appealing, pretty. And Shafe says that, oh, you'll be happy to subscribe to these meals. I'm so sorry, I no longer run the restaurant. I no longer be able to cook and supply this. I can only cook this for myself at home, right? Alice say, yeah. So my idea is not about healthy meal. My idea is to get people to try different ingredients, try different dishes, try different recipes, to explore different ways of eating, explore different ways, right, of trying put together traditional inspired dishes with better ingredients. That was my goal. Right. This was quinoa salad. This was yeah. And Jesse, you didn't taste it. How would you know? But I agree. It was quite nice. I miss my own food. I don't have the time to cook this right now. All right. Miss my own food. And this is salmon. This is a sous vide chicken, right, with goji berry. Right. I think it has a bak kut teh inspired soup base. A bak kut teh inspired soup base to the sous vide chicken, right, with goji berry. Don't look very nice because yeah, then subsequently we cut it to make it look nicer, right? But it looked like a block, right? But wow, it tastes so nice. No, nobody would even imagine that chicken breast can be so soft and tender, right? And so soft, and so people were. And this is a more common, you know, kimchi tofu vegetable dish that we were serving, and this is the Nonya inspired salad that was talking about using black fungus. using black fungus. So it's another shot, another picture, right, of the food, another picture of the food, any new dishes there, right? I evolved over time so many of the dishes, every day my staff will complain to me, doctor, new thing again, yeah. Because I wanted to. Actually, one of the inspiration, later I'll share with you the inspiration behind why I become so passionate about spiralizing vegetables and noodles to displace, the noodles in our dishes. And I tell you the story. It started from my clinic, and I went to the kitchen to do something. That's the story of how it happened. And I hope there are pictures later to show that. All right. Jesse said you could taste it with your eyes, right? 色香味齐全, right? That not only should it smell, taste good, it should also look good, right? Healthy food does not need to look boring. We need to inspire people. We need to encourage people to try. Right? And some of this is another of the quinoa fried rice with sous vide chicken. You can see a sous vide chicken breast there. This is a vegan version, a vegetarian version. Right? This is the amount of quinoa fried rice we do every day. Can you imagine the amount of quinoa fried rice that we cook so often? Right? Yeah, because the quinoa, people are like, hey, you mean quinoa is not just a Western cuisine salad topping? I say, no, quinoa can be a staple in place of rice. So we make quinoa fried rice, and it's one of the most popular staples, right, that people were choosing at my restaurant. I even get quinoa into Thai curry, green curry quinoa lemak, and as well as this tri-color quinoa on its own. And then, so I was running Eat and Learn session. So this is the Eat and Learn session. And what I did here was to, serve them small serving, taster size, right, of different things, right, so that they can try. And I was even had to demonstrate to them how to cook quinoa, telling them the proportion of water and the timing. Have to demonstrate. We literally, have to lead the horse to the stream and then teach the horse how to drink it too. Literally doing that. And this is a Chinese TV program by a DJ host and an actress host, right, where they came to try all my quinoa dishes, right, all my quinoa dishes at my restaurant, right, all the quinoa dishes at my restaurant. So this is a picture from the show, right? I didn't run the restaurant on my own, other than some occasional kitchen staff, and this is Mei Jie, right, one of the key staff, and the people who work at my restaurant shared the same common mission and purpose. Right, so this Mei Jie here, right, wanted to work there, even though she had other much better jobs than working in a eatery, in a restaurant, and even helping the kitchen, because she wanted to make a difference. And she came to me knocking on my door and said, I want a job at your place. Right. And she's a first class honors, in more than qualified to do other things, right, at her career. But she wanted to inspire people, right? So it brings, tears to my eyes, right? That in those 5 years, right, were, although painful, although tiring, right, although lots of scars, I show you the better scars, but it was very meaningful. I believe, and we know, people tell us, we have impacted lives. We have impacted lives. We closed it after 5 years in 2019. How I wish we can still continue that. But life goes on. Okay, so that's what I do. All right, life goes on. So when I stopped having my restaurant, one of the things I did was, since I don't have a restaurant to run my training, I actually brought people, right, to training kitchen. So some of people are my patients, some are just students or participants, right? So many of them, right, I'll bring them to a training kitchen and demonstrate to them, give them ideas, give them tips, the principles of what I prescribe to them in the clinic, what I prescribe to them in the dietary change is then brought to life in terms of practical tips, in a training kitchen, right? And yeah, this is a picture of one of those, and my wife and I working closely together. And you can know that, remember the picture of this Mei, right? She will be behind the scene, helping us while my wife and I will be at the front demonstrating and teaching. Right. This is a picture of what I call the eat and learn. I actually, when I no longer have a restaurant, I actually brought people out, right, to eat at other restaurants, to inspire them to try different dishes. Right. This is another restaurant, another of the activity I ran, right, to encourage people to try different kind of foods. Right. And in this picture here, one of the last picture taken at my restaurant, right? One of the last picture taken at my restaurant, and I have this plug there all the time when I was running the restaurant. In everything, give thanks. And I give thanks. And although I was sad that all good things must come to an end, right? Although I was sad, right? I accepted that it was time to move on, right? But I was grateful for the 5 years, the opportunity to inspire people, right? To get people to try, to change, to explore, to experience different ways of eating, different ingredients, different ways of putting food together, right? That was my journey, right? So here again, right, another photo of me cooking, serving, an eat and learn session, right? So you can see the plate. There'll be, I think, a 6-course dinner. Right? Every meal, every dish has a learning story behind it. Right? This is a eat and learn session where I brought a group of people to a Thai buffet, Thai cuisine buffet restaurant, and we're teaching them how to choose well, even when you eat out in a buffet restaurant. So I give them a teaching session for half an hour. The practical was I release them into the buffet restaurant, and they were supposed to choose properly, right? Even when they're in a buffet restaurant. This is another teaching session at my restaurant, running classes, running workshops. Here I think I was demonstrating, how to make cauliflower rice, right? Demonstrating how we make cauliflower rice in this, teaching someone how to spiralize zucchini using different things. Let me in here share the story of this spiralizing passion that I have. Right, this spiralizing passion. Right, I was in the clinic one day. Again, most of my patients are people with diabetes, people with high blood pressure, fatty liver, high blood cholesterol, or whatever. So, one of the patients have very severe diabetes, poorly controlled diabetes. And when I reviewed his diet, right, the patient was obviously, eating excessive amounts of processed carbohydrate foods such as bread, biscuit, noodles, bee hoon, mee pok, kway teow, all the noodles-based stuff, right? So I have this patient who was eating a lot of processed carbohydrate, flour-based stuff, right? And every time we eat that, because we have a glucose monitor on him, a continuous glucose monitor on him, and we can obviously see a spike, unhealthy, very bad spike in the blood sugar because of severe diabetes, right? Poorly controlled diabetes. And I asked the patient, do you know that, every time you take this amount, an excessive amount of your noodles, bread, kway teow, mee pok, because I'm looking at his food pictures, every of his meal, all right, and it will spike your blood sugar. The patient replied to me, yes, I know, right, but my morale is low, right, my mood is down, and I get my comfort from food. And the patient's comfort from food was the childhood food like mee pok, kway teow, like noodles dishes, Asian noodles dishes, right? Very high flour-based dishes. Right? And the patient told me, I can't help it. I'm so down, so depressed over my diabetes. I get my comfort from eating foods that even though I know that they are bad for my diabetes. I was so upset, or so upset, I was so disturbed by what I heard, that the person would knowingly eat in a way that is even immediately reflected in the blood sugar through the glucose monitor, or knowingly eat in a way that is bad for the blood sugar. even though the person has severe poorly controlled diabetes. Obviously, choosing meal that the person already knew, right? The noodles-based dishes. So that very day, when I went to the kitchen after the clinic, right, I decided that I want to do something. Right? I want to change people's minds. They can still enjoy local food, right? But can we be open to explore lower GI staples? No, occasionally at least, or frequently, better still, or always, replacing the flour-based noodles, bihun, kway teow, right, with whole food equivalent, right? Instead of using pasta, we could be using zoodles, right? Instead of using kway teow, bihun, we can using doodles, spiralized daikon. So I began to get the spiralizer and I began to put spiralized vegetables into the menu of my restaurant. Right, that was what I did. And not only that, I began to teach, run classes, workshops, to teach people how to spiralize, teach people how to use different kinds of spiralized vegetable. So you can see many of my photos here are about spiralized vegetables, right? Because I wanted to, right? I was very triggered and affected when I saw people with diabetes continue to eat badly because they can't get away. They do not know how to find better alternatives, right, to the highly processed, flour-based favorites, comfort food of noodles, bihun, kway teow that they used to eat and continue to eat from young and they continue to enjoy. I'm saying that I don't want to go into details of how we should eat differently, right? But certainly I wanted to encourage people to try different things. I want to encourage people to, try different options, right? And to do that, right? So this was with 963, one of the radio stations, and I did a beef noodle soup without noodles, and this is using daikon, right? For those people who like, oh, I need to eat my beef kway teow soup, so you can see the typical Thai beef kway teow condiments, right? Of herbs and bean sprouts, the tauge, and the different things, I created a dish to get them to try. Like if they want to eat the beef kway teow, beef bihun, right? Neuro mian, right? Neuro beef mifen, right? Then I got spiralized daikon for them to try. And this was my tom yum uh, spiralized daikon. Again, a very popular dish, tom yum spiralized daikon. So I use Asian flavors, right, to try to. So again, I told my story just now of what inspired me to try so many different ways to get people to um, try different options, right? Different options to their regular staples, high flour based staples, high flour based staples, right? Noodles and bread. Any of you have any questions? Right, I'm feeling a bit lonely here. Not many people leaving comments. Not many people have questions about my experience as a doctor chef in those 5 years. Right. But happy to hear them. I'll be encouraged to hear, your interaction, your questions. Right? So if you have any, to leave your questions here. I'm happy, to have the conversation, have the chat with you. All right. This is on the radio show that I mentioned before. All right. This is on another TV show. This was on national TV. Even on national TV, you can see I was spiralizing, right? Because I wanted to get people, right, to think of alternatives, especially when they need to, even when they have this yearning, right, of their favorite noodles dishes. Okay, so that was what I was doing, and this is a screenshot, right, from the TV, national TV in Singapore, and I went on it was a game show of three different person challenge with a mystery box of ingredients and how to make a good dish out of that. So my intention, I didn't win, right? The little game show contest, there were three of us, right? I was told by some of the judges that they wanted me to win, but for other reasons, my dish may not have that mass appeal, right? Because I was not focused on winning, I was focused on being able to advocate, right, the alternative use the better use, the healthier choices. Right? And of course, healthier choices would not have the mass appeal. All right. And so that was on my national TV. I was also doing that. It was a 13 parts radio. This one was some of the sets, right? And this one was cauliflower rice. Right? I added some tricolor quinoa in my cauliflower rice, and that's why it looks like that. And this one is the bak chor mee salad that I made without me, in that. So the cook and learn, right? The cook and learn, eat and learn session that was running, come as if, come like you have a starters, have a mains, have a food tasting, have a bento. Yeah, I was running that, even candlelight, yeah, it was fun. How I wish I can continue to do that. How many of you would do that, right? My wife and that Ming Jie, working hard in serving our eat and learn session, right? Eat and learn session, right? And Shafe say, what do we do now? Try out our inspired dishes. No, not just what the ideas that I have. I think, what I want to the message here is not about my ideas, inspired by my recipes. I just want everybody to have a mindset that we can enjoy healthier options without depriving the enjoyment factor, reducing the enjoyment factor. Right? We basically can try using the inspiration from our traditional comfort food and use different ingredients, right, to displace that, to replace them, but keeping in the main the original flavor that got us so hooked as comfort food in the first place. That's why the bak chor mee, I retain the bak chor mee, right? This is a bak chor mee noodles. Without noodles, there's no noodles here, right? But it's a bak chor mee inspired dish, all right, with a lot of chor, not the bak chor, but really a lot of chor, and it was very, very popular, right? This salad here, and this one is the cauliflower rice with quinoa. Cauliflower rice with quinoa, right? And some Christians say, pumpkin soup, potato. In terms of spiralizing, no, those would not be a good choice, right? I'll share more of that. Jesse enjoyed listening to interesting story. Thank you. And Jesse will make my quinoa lemak for sure. And Alice, thank you for your encouragement. Thank you all for your encouraging words. All right. Yeah, and then that was what we did at night. Running cook and learn, eat and learn session where people, because I wanted my restaurant to be a living classroom, to be a place that people get to try different options. Right? And even because I wanted to try as many things as possible, right? So I gave them taster portions. Degustation. This one is like the quinoa fried rice in a small tasting portion, so they can get to try different things that will pique their interest, that will create curiosity amongst them, get them to actually 北排家嘞actually 会使嘞不只是可以接受甚至可以享受 right. So that was my inspiration to do that. And now my teaching session, here I am teaching 2 grown men how to make cauliflower rice, right, in one of my cook and learn session, right, teaching 2 grown men how to make cauliflower rice. So it is not just the ladies that were interested, right, in learning. We have people coming forward to learn and try. Here I was teaching them. How many of you make cauliflower rice at home? Right. It's nothing mythical, nothing complex. Right. We just need to be willing to try. Just be willing to try. So I got them to try for the first time, and I got feedback for them. Many of them went home and continued trying at home. Right. Then whether it is a Chinese newspaper, the Wan Bao, right, talk about me, a doctor, and teaching people using food, right, to combat chronic diseases. Right. 厨师医生教你用饮食对抗慢性疾病. Right. Basically translated to English, it means doctor chef teaching people to use food, right, to combat chronic diseases. Right. So that was the headline, and right now I'm no longer running a restaurant, and certainly would not draw that kind of headlines, would not have that level of influence. Right. So now I'm just live streaming, talking, sharing as much as possible. All right. My 5 years running the restaurant was not just hard on me, but was also hard on my family, on my wife, on my children. Right. So many of our gatherings, celebrations were all done at the restaurant. Right. This is my beautiful wife, my beautiful daughter. You know, we are having a gathering. We catch up with each other at the restaurant because we don't have time. We are always almost from morning running the clinic, lunchtime working in the restaurant, in serving lunch. Afternoon I'll be doing work in the hospitals. Dinner time working the kitchen and weekends as well. Right. So I hardly have time for family. So when I don't have time to go back to my family comes to me or work with me, right, in the kitchen. Right. So this is a photo of a gathering with my wife and daughter. All right. In there. Okay. So I have Phyllis here says that you make pizza base using cauliflower besides fried cauliflower rice. Yeah, many people use cauliflower or other alternatives to use a pizza base. Right, Jessie will definitely try the cauliflower rice as well. That's interesting. That's good. All right. Happy to hear many of you inspired to try, inspired to experiment. It's okay to make a mess of it. You just need to fail one time, get better next time, become perfect by the third time. Right? Do you hear what I just said? Maybe I should have this. It is okay. It is okay to fail, to make a mess every time you try something different. Right? Make a mess the first time, get better the second time, make it perfect the third time. Yeah. So it is a matter of trial and error. Right? There's no great secret to it. Have an idea, be inspired, then go and try. You wouldn't know until you try. All right. And it is, hello Amy. All right. Thank you. Hello Amy. Right. Thank you for the thumbs up. Right. Thank you for your encouragement, many of you. So this is another of my teaching session in restaurant. As I said just now, I was telling the story that in the 5 years, Beijing Chu, literally in Hokkien. That means we don't see home, right? We hardly see home, right? My children hardly see me at home. Don't have time to spend with them because I was running the kitchen, right, with my wife, right? So this is my wife and my daughter, right? And even having our anniversaries, our birthdays celebration there. I think this was our wedding anniversary. We didn't have a chance to go out and celebrate. Right, so we celebrated in the restaurant. And this photo bomber here, my cheeky photo bomber is actually my son. Right, my son at behind the all of them were working in the kitchen, right, together with my wife and I, right, running the restaurant, right, and we were celebrating normal occasion, family gatherings, and even my anniversary, at the restaurant. My children will come down. Right, and this was one of the TV shows, right? One of the TV shows that I did. Right, they challenged me to cook healthy food from certain ingredients, healthy dish. Right, so that was what I did. I took up the challenge, and it was on TV, national TV. All right, here again, my family, my beautiful family, my beautiful wife and beautiful kids, helping me in my restaurant, right? Because it is a family affair, because running an F&B is not easy. Right? Running a celebrated birthdays, right? Anniversaries are celebrated there. Gatherings are done there. Anniversaries are celebrated there. And even birthdays are celebrated at my restaurant. Better staples, getting plants stronger. Right? So that was my life from 2014 to 2019. Working as a doctor and a chef at the same time. Running a clinic, coaching people, running workshops, running programs, to inspire people, right, to another anniversary, another photo, right, that we have. Right, and this one is another demonstration kitchen, cooking quinoa, demonstrating to people how to cook quinoa, bringing people to Thai restaurant to eat, teaching people how to use lentils, right. This is my late father, right, who inspired me to cook. Right, that's me, Sanpo, skinny me. Yeah. My late father loves to cook. My late father cooks very, very well. My whole family loves his cooking. I also enjoy cooking because of him. He inspired me to cook. So from a very young age, I would run into the kitchen. I remember when I was a Boy Scout, when I was in secondary one, right? One of the first badges that I took as a Boy Scout was to take the cook badge. And to take the cook badge, right? Because cooking ran in my blood, right? Cooking ran in my family, especially amongst all the men in the family, right? And that was inspired by my wife, my father, all right? My father inspired me to cook. He was a very, very, very good cook, right? So I want to pay tribute to my late father for his inspiration, right, of getting me, right, for inspiring me to have this interest to cook. That little did I realize the inspiration that my late father gave me to cook, not only gave me the motivation to cook tasty food or healthy food just for my family, but also led me on the journey to have the confidence to start my own restaurant, to have the confidence to use the restaurant as a learning classroom to inspire people, right, to eat healthily. And that was that my late father who inspired me. Thank you. Right. And here I am looking like a supermarket promoter. All right. Here I am looking like a supermarket promoter. You can see with the earpiece. Now, because it's doing my cooking restaurant, my cook and learn, eat and learn session. All right. So because I'll be demonstrating with my hands. All right. And therefore, I was wearing a microphone, right, in order to speak and demonstrate at the same time. Right? And that was what I did. Right. In between, and this is a big workshop that I did, right, for a newspaper in Singapore. Right? A few hundred people attended. Right? This is a workshop I did in a church. Right? I also did a workshop in the church recently, 2 days ago, yesterday, in fact. Right? And I'm so blessed, I'm so gratified and grateful for the platform to be able to inspire people, right? Not only in a small setup, right, in my kitchen, but also in big on TV, national TV, in newspapers, right, to social media and through events such as this, where hundreds of people, by God's grace, I have met, I counted, the last counted, I must have conducted training programs, talks, workshops, coaching programs for, I think, about close to 10,000 people so far, right, in the last about 8 years. I have managed to reach out to in-person teaching in various form, whether it's a one-off session or whether it's a 1-year program, whether it's a 3-month program, right? Yeah, not as a doctor, but as a trainer, as a coach, right? Close to 10,000 people. There was one program I ran, there was 5,000 people, and then it adds up the rest of many hundreds each time, right? By God's grace, I had the platform, and I'm thankful and grateful. And I want to continue that, to inspire people to unlock the power of their lifestyle, to unlock the power, right, of their eating habits, right, to prevent and combat very modifiable, very likely preventable conditions such as diabetes, heart disease, and the likes, right? So this is a program I ran in the church, right? This is one of the laksa dishes. This is the bak chor mee salad and the quinoa. This was Beyond Grains as staples. This was one of the eat and learn session that I conduct, right? Even in conferences, workshops, I given the opportunity, to do that. All right. So yeah, so that is I thank you for this being joining me, that I'm just rambling on, sharing my memories, all right, of what I did for 5 years as a restaurant at the restaurant. And some of you may be interested, some may not. I hope it has been interesting for you all, right? Or just going to a photo album and sharing it to the world, sharing with all of you. I hope you found it interesting at least, or at least be inspired to do that. Lai Seng said that your reverse of tree high, but it's actually very difficult to convince people. Right? It's not easy to convince people. Right? The only way to convince people is to show them results, the results of better health, the results of enjoying our food. Right? We cannot nag people into following. We must inspire them into following. Right? A healthy lifestyle. We must walk the talk. We cannot just talk the talk. Right? We must build a community, and this is one place that I want to build a community online of people. Right? Doing that. I thank you, Christy, for beautiful family. Jesse. I thank you. Thank you for kind words, Jesse. Right. Thank you, Amy. Thank you. Right. Then Angie. Thank you. By God's grace, we are all instruments. We all have platform. We all have gifts. Right. We all have things, right, that we can do. People that we can influence. Right. Let's make the best use of it. Let's make the best possible use of all of that. Right. I thank you all, right, for giving that. So let habits be thy medicine. Our eating habits, our starting our eating habits. Let us unlock the power of our eating habits as medicine. Shall we do that? Right? Shall we all unlock the power of our eating habits as medicine? Right? By being open, by being curious about healthy eating. Right? Let us open our minds. Let us not prejudge. Let us not be having this misconception, having this bias, right, towards healthy food, healthy ingredient. Right? Traditional food bring us that comfort, the memories of childhood. Right? But if we need to change, we need to improve. Right? Can we all be open to improving? Right? Can we all be open, right, to try different ingredients, try different foods? Let's start a movement. Right? Whether it is about teaching people to use lentils, whether it's about teaching people how to choose better, in restaurants, teaching people how to use quinoa, right? Teaching people, how to try different ingredients, right? Can we all do our part? Right here, whether it's about using cauliflower as rice, right? We don't fear rice, we don't condemn rice, love rice, right? But can we go beyond rice? Can we try cauliflower rice? Can we try quinoa? Can we try? Let's have a more vibrant diet. Let's have a diet that is not stuck in its old ways, right? That will lead to the same old outcome. All right. Thank you, Edwina, right, for your sharing, for your encouragement. I thank you, right, and thank you, Angie, as well, for your very kind words. And yeah, it's not easy. It can be very discouraging. All right. I was just telling my wife, no, I'm not some cute young man or a woman, right, that can dance, that can sing, and that I will attract thousands and millions of people because I dance and sing. I can't dance, I can't sing, right? I can only talk. I can't dance, I can't sing. I can only talk. I can only share from my heart. And of course, it may not appeal to everybody. And that's why I totally am grateful and totally am thankful for the tens of you who joined me. I don't have hundreds or thousands of people, joining me in my live stream. I do not have. 来啊，分享分享, don't have. All right. I don't have that huge following. Right. Although on YouTube, right, I have about 90 over 1,000 subscribers on my main channel. I have about 3,000 over subscribers on my second channel and third channel. All right. But I do not have the reach, the following, whether when I share. People like to have little nuggets of information, but I truly believe, right, that my sharing in a more comprehensive way through the live stream can touch people's lives, challenge people's thinking much better than 2-3 minutes, 1 minute, very sharp videos. Right? Information is useful, but mindsets need to be changed first. Misconception need to be clarified first. And I feel that it can be done, it must be done through conversations like this that we are having. Conversations about how to change our mindset, how to change our choices and how to change our diet and how to change our life. All right. So I want to thank all of you. Right, Mayok, you must be joking. You say that I sound like I can sing. Right. I can't sing. Right. Yeah, I don't think you want me to sing. If I sing, I think everybody will leave this live stream. You know, yeah, I can remember a courtesy song when know how many of you are of the age that you remember the courtesy song. Now it came to my mind. I was like, courtesy is for free, courtesy is for you and me, makes for gracious living and harmony. Huh, Miyok? Right? Do you remember? You all may be too young for that. People of my age may remember that courtesy campaign song. No, I just singing. But you see, the viewership didn't go up because I sang, and yeah, right. I thank Amy, right, for your encouraging words, right. Right. I thank Edwina for encouraging words to increase over time to come, rather than watching many and learn nothing. Right. The few that watch and this few actually learn something. I hope to inspire all of you. Mayok, what does the yes mean? What does the yes mean? That I should sing? How many of you think that I should sing? Right, to get more people to listen to me. Should I do a skit? Should I try to be funny? Right, but because sometimes when I try to change people's mindset, no, it's not easy. It's not easy to change people's mindset. Right, it's so difficult to change people's mindset, and changing mindset needs conversation, need the patience, need the investment. Right, to invest in conversation, Q&A, asking question, looking at things from different angle, different perspective. Right, all these conversations, right, that we can have, that will change people's minds. All right, and may you remember the courtesy song. Yeah, that was funny, right? The courtesy song, right? And how many of you remember the old advertisement? Oh, do you remember what the advertisement is about? It's about sweets. Oh, deng deng. There are two words after that. I'm just testing some of your age, right? Testing some of your age, right? Jesse, thank you that you enjoyed tonight's sharing and talking so much. Right, you learn about me and my 5 years of running my restaurant. I thank you. Go to bed now, Jesse. It must be midnight right now in New Zealand. Am I right, Jesse? Right, it must be midnight right now. Okay. Yeah. So Angie say 我不是偶像派. Right, so just do what I'm good at. Yeah. Sadly, 我不是偶像派. Right, I'm a 类大所派. 类大所讲故事派. Right, I'm not 偶像. That means I'm not the either type of influencer. For those who don't understand Chinese, right? What Angie is saying that I'm not the either celebrity kind of influencer. Right? I'm just a nagging, talking old man. 类大所讲故事 like rediffusion. Right, and Jesse is saying good night because Jesse is from New Zealand. I think it's past midnight right now for Jesse. So can we inspire one another, continue to encourage one another, to try different things, to be open to different ways of eating, to be open, right, to looking at food differently, to be open to look at our choices, right, that we can have that is not just helpful, right, but is also enjoyable. Healthy food can be yummy food. Healthy food can be food that we would not just be good for our body, but we will also love, right? That we will also love, right? So I want to thank all of you, every single one of you. How many of you would want me to end my live stream now, right? If there's no more questions, if there's no more comments, right, I will let many of you who are from Singapore. It's 7 p.m. right now. You're probably going to have your dinner, or you're from elsewhere like New Zealand. You're going to bed. You have something to do, right? How many of you got questions to ask me? I'll be happy to just remain and chat. All right. If not, I'll let you all go from this fella telling story. This storyteller called Dr. Chan, right? This storyteller called Dr. Chan, right? If not, I want to. You have a nice dinner too, Evina. Have a nice dinner to you too. Okay. So I want to end here. If there's no further comments, right? Underhand here by saying Angie is now multitasking, cooking and listening to me. Maybe I can be the radio background. Every day there's a radio broadcast. All right. And I want to share this picture. Right? In everything, give thanks. Let's be thankful. And I am thankful for all you joining me. I'm thankful for the 5 years that I had in the restaurant. Although it was so painful, it was so tough. I'm thankful for supportive wife, supportive family, for my children. I'm thankful for the opportunity, the inspiration, right, of the love of cooking that my late father gave me. I'm thankful for the ability, right, to influence people. I'm thankful, right, for my 5 years, right, in a restaurant that gave me, not just a lot of memories, but gave me the privilege to impact lives. Right. I am very thankful for that. Right now, I'm on to the next phase, right, of my life, that I'm no longer running a physical restaurant, but I would be looking at other ways, including this live stream. So join my live stream whenever you can. So share my live stream wherever you can. Comment on my live stream wherever you can, so that I can reach more people, right? So that I can, right, do more, right, for people around us, so I can reach more people. And just as Angie said, even though I'm not an Xiang Pai, not a celebrity, idol kind of influencer, right, I would still want to reach as many people as possible, not just in the tens, but the hundreds, the thousands, the tens of thousands, and the millions. Right? I'm so glad that on my YouTube, I have videos that have 1.6 million. I have a couple of videos that have more than 1 million views so far since I posted it about 3 years ago. Right? I am thankful, right, for all this opportunity. I am so, so thankful. Right? So with that, right, I want to bless everybody. Right? May you have a blessed week ahead. May all of you be blessed, right, in the coming weeks. May all of you be blessed with the encouragement to try healthy food. May all of you, right, be blessed with encouraging friends and, most important, family members to go on this journey with you to eat healthily, to go on this journey with you to explore healthy food. Right? Can I encourage you, right, to bless other people by not just talking the talk of the importance of living and eating healthy, but by walking the talk, right, of showing them that you have learned to love foods that will love you back. You have learned to enjoy foods that will help, not just give you the nutrition that you need for daily life, but go give you that protection against diabetes, heart disease, stroke. Right? It is a lifelong exploration, a lifelong journey of learning, exploring, experiencing, and enjoying. And I thank all of you for that. I thank every single one of you. And I will say thank you to Jim. Thank you to Phyllis. Thank you to Mayok. Thank you to Jacqueline. Thank you to Amy. Thank you to Christy. Thank you to Jacqueline again. Thank you to Sally. All right. And thank you, Edwin. Thanks to all of you for joining me tonight. A very long live stream of my chit-chatting and my asking questions and sharing my story. I hope you didn't find it boring. I hope you find it interesting, and hope you found it useful even. I thank all of you. Be blessed, everyone. Have a blessed week ahead. Be blessed.